Of all the weapons wielded by the Emperor's legions, it is not the cannon or blades that are most deadly. It is knowledge that has carried us to victories beyond count, and wisdom that has broken empires and kings. Among the Legiones Astartes, there are debates on the efficacy and strength of each legion. Rivalries abound, and grudges are born from the glories won and lost in battle. Though of all the legions, there would be one held above all as the template for each to follow. The first legion of the Adeptus Astartes, the Dark Angels. As the first of the Space Marine legions to be founded, the history and heritage of such a prestigious honor would be far-reaching. First deployed during the end of the Unification Wars, it would be the First Legion's solemn duty to aid in the culling of the Emperor's enemies of Holy Terror. Exceptionally deadly from their inception, the First Legion of the Adeptus Astartes would be armed with extensive and powerful advanced weaponries and armor systems, while simultaneously being quick to produce and optimize for battle. With the Emperor of Mankind's utter conquest of Holy Terror, his first brutal army of Thunder Warriors would by necessity need to be culled. Alongside the Legio Custodes, the First Legion would aid in the culling of the Goliaths of Terror. Heralding the new age of warriors at the forefront of humanity's conquest of the galaxy, the Astartes of the First would lay the foundations and deeds for all Astartes that would follow. Their origins shrouded in mystery, the First Legion would wage war with distinction, yet the chronicles of their victories would be untold. Initially comprising of a diverse range of recruits from the islands of Albia to the Anatolic steppes, varieties of Terran cultures would define the Legion's early service. The crucible of knowledge from eras of untold wars from Terra's history, the First would forge a mentality and martial code of exceptional pedigree, forming so-called hosts within the Legion that would later be remolded into the Hexagrammaton. These combat doctrines of war would specialize in decoders of battle strategy. As their name would be known as the Angels of Death, the First Legion would adopt a symbol to represent their guise to which they had been attributed. The skeletal icon of death itself would adorn their banners, and as the left hand of the Emperor, the First Legion would accrue their battle honors and glories with humble, grim pride. With the Emperor's expanse into the Sol System and beyond, the newly proclaimed Great Crusade to unite humanity would see to the expanse of the Emperor's war effort. As the remaining 19 legions would grow in number before being sent to conquer the galaxy, alone the First Legion would stand vigil as their brother legions would grow in number. Known singularly as his Angels, the First would cleanse the frozen moons of the outer segments of the solar system for 10 Terran years, further refining their formations into orders specializing in specific arts of war. The First Legion would face the most grueling and difficult trials laid forth by the Emperor and succeed with their continually improving skill at arms. Their armor painted deep shades of purest black, the First Legion would return to Holy Terror as toughened veterans of war. Seeking no fanfare for their deeds, the First would be assigned to the shipyards of Mars and receive vessels dating from the days of Old Night. For each other legion, they would be gifted ships, but the vaunted First would be entrusted with a fleet. The first to be crafted, refined and proven, it would be the duty of the First Legion to carve a path at the spear tip of the Great Crusade. They were the first of the Angels of Death, and their legacy would be every legion's heritage. As the remaining legions brought planets into compliance, the First would hold the collective wrath of a remorseless galaxy at bay. As worlds of humans would be brought into the fold of humanity, his Angels would cleanse nearby hovels of untold terrors from existence. For every shining spark of hope gleamed for the Imperium, the First Legion would lay waste to 100 nightmares. Their many victories against fathomless monsters of unremitting cruelty, censured from the knowledge of the First Legion's histories, to better safeguard humanity. Yet with their continued victories, the First Legion would slowly be consumed by their ego. As the triumphs of the Legion would grow, the Astartes of the First would enshrine tradition as their foremost virtue. As each host and order grew in power, they would jealously guard their expertise, teachings, and tactics. Turning upon themselves, the Astartes of the First would become secretive and no longer share their knowledge with their brother legions. With some legions such as the Ultramarines and Imperial Fists challenging the First Legion's power with their Primarch's discoveries, the superiority of the First would be challenged. Their pride would begin to cost the Legion victories and losses to their number. Defeat would be a bitter taste for a Legion accustomed to unchallenged victories and the greatest of weapons, vessels, and numbers to fight their opponents. Yet with the discovery of Caliban by the scouts of the 5th Legion, the First Legion's downfall would be prevented. Within the dark forests of Caliban, a Primarch had faced the dangers of the feral world. Lion L. Johnson, master of the Order of Knights, had culled the beasts of the forests and united Caliban's populace under his own banner. Despite the world's primitive technological capabilities, the Knights of Caliban had faced the terrors of their homeworld and conquered them. With the Emperor of Mankind's reunion with his gene-son, the Lion would be given command of the vaunted First Legion, renaming them the Dark Angels after the ancient Calibanite myth of their heritage. A new era would begin for the First Legion. The Lion would test his new warriors to observe their prowess in battle. Standing against the captain of each company, garbed in their cataphracti pattern Terminator armor, the Lion would best each in combat with his own Calibanite steel. Taking their measure, the Lion would begin to incorporate his Knights of Caliban into the Legion. Ashamed of the state of their once glorious Legion, the Terran Astartes of the First would attempt to redeem their honor by throwing themselves into engagements with renewed zeal. Yet with dissent rising between the Terran and Caliban Astartes, the Lion would disband the knightly orders and Astartes hosts in order to rebuild the Legion as a unified army. As Caliban's surface would be transformed by the Imperium, so too would the First Legion. The Lion would see the galaxy teeming with beasts to slay in the name of the Imperium, and with his Dark Angels by his side, he would slay every one of them that dared to stand in his way. A primal force of destruction, the Lion would not heed the passions often championed by his brother Primarchs. Instead, he would renew his Legion's honor by crushing the enemies of humanity. Merging the teachings of Caliban with the Terran Astartes' experiences, a hexagrammaton would be forged, and his quest to reunite the disparate companies of his Legion into a cohesive fighting army. After years of toil, the Lion would succeed in reorganizing his fragmented Legion into 100,000 Astartes strong. Swearing an oath to his Astartes, the Lion would declare, "We are the Angels of Darkness. For us there is no peace, no end by war and death. We shall not walk in the golden halls of mankind's future, but stand resolute in the shadows beyond. While we yet draw breath, this Imperium will not fall, and we will not know defeat. For I pledge every warrior, every drop of blood in the Legion in the name of victory, no matter the cost." Assigning new masters to each newly formed wing of the Dark Angels, the Lion would lead his Legion into the wars to come, pledged to kill the enemies of his Imperium and nothing else. As the Great Crusade waged on, the Dark Angels would reclaim their glory as a respected and indomitable force. Despite the Lion's dour and cold demeanor, his deeds as a general of his Imperium would be exceptional. Bringing many worlds into compliance and slaying malevolent terrors of the galaxy, the Lion's quest to unify the galaxy in the name of humanity would be absolute. Never relenting in his duty, the Lion would never rest on his laurels for praise or self-indulgence, but rather prepare for the next battle to bring humanity closer to its ultimate goal. For these qualities, the Lion would be considered for the rank of War Master, despite the honor being bequeathed to the Primarch of the Lunar Wolves, Horus Lupercal. Yet with the War Master's fall to the thrall of the ruinous powers, it would be the Lion and his Dark Angels, which would be arguably the greatest threat to the traitor's schemes. Ordered to wage war on the furthest reaches of the galaxy, Horus Lupercal would spread the Dark Angels far from his treachery before his opening gambit. Despite their stalling to face the traitors, the Dark Angels would nonetheless prove an exceptionally potent force against the War Master. Facing the Night Lords during the Framas Crusade, the Dark Angels would best the undisciplined rabble of the 8th Legion, yet be delayed from returning to Holy Terra to defend the Throne World. Joining with the Blood Angels and Ultramarines within the Ultramar system, the 3 legions and their Primarchs would be separated from the Imperium with the birth of the Great Rift across the galaxy. Further attempting to staunch the wound inflicted upon humanity, the Primarchs would found the contingency of Imperium Secundus in an attempt to create an empire to replace the potentially destroyed Imperium. Yet with the news of the Emperor's continued survival, the Primarchs would resolve to travel to Holy Terra. Enabling the Blood Angels to breach an opening within the ruined storm, the Ultramarines and Dark Angels would not return to Holy Terra in time to prevent the death of Sanguinius or wounding of the Emperor. Instead, Lionel Johnson would attempt to draw the traitors from the Throne World by razing their own homeworlds to the ground, destroying the Emperor's children homeworld of Chemos and Death Guard homeworld of Barbarus. The Dark Angels would be unable to prevent the traitors from enacting the Siege of Terra. As the Emperor of Mankind began his long vigil upon the Golden Throne, the Dark Angels under the command of the Lion would seek retribution. Rallying the Loyalist legions in their great scouring of the traitors to the throne, the First Legion would pursue the fleeing traitors across the galaxy. Despite many foes being slain by their hand, the Dark Angels would attempt to muster reinforcements from their homeworld of Caliban to better suit the Legion's new duty to destroy the War Master's broken armies. Yet as they arrived in orbit of Caliban, the planet's defenses would fire upon the Lion's fleet. Enraged, the Lion would lead his men to confront the duplicitous warriors whom had once served in his name. Confronting his once most trusted mentor and friend, Luthor, the Lion would duel the now chaos-empowered knight. The Lion would be wounded by his once father figure, and with the deceit of his actions realized, Luthor would be racked with guilt at his actions. As the planet began to be torn asunder by the birth of a chaos-infused warp storm, the Watchers in the Dark would rescue the Primarch. Caliban would be sundered, with only the fortress monastery of Alderbrooke and the earth it stood on surviving the destruction wrought by the ruinous powers. Yet with time, Caliban's broken earth would be salvaged and be formed into the vast space vessel known as the Rock. Serving as the Dark Angel's homeworld and flagship, the Rock would harbor its armies, armaments, secrets, and deep within its chambers, unknown by all but the Emperor himself, the Primarch. Entombed within a stasis chamber, the Lion slumbers until the time for his Dark Angel's redemption shall be at hand. Their quest to hunt down the fallen angels whom betrayed their trust, seemingly never fated to end, the Dark Angels know not as to the fate of their Gene Father, hidden within the most sacred and hidden chamber of their home. With the fall of their brothers to the thrall of chaos, the Dark Angels conceal the truth of their Legion's corruption from any outside of their ranks. Fearing censure or even excommunication from the Imperium, should such a truth be revealed, the Dark Angels go to any lengths to obscure and redact any traces of the fallen angels of Caliban. With their homeworld destroyed and Primarch missing, the Dark Angels would busy themselves with the destruction of the enemies of his Imperium. Yet as news of the fallen survival would be revealed, the Dark Angels would resolve to purge their treacherous kin from the galaxy. Despite all that the First Legion had endured, a glint of redemption sparked in their duty to slay their former brothers. Atoning for their failure, The Dark Angels would be divided into successor, so-called Unforgiven chapters by the ruling of the Codex Astartes. Yet the imperative goal of all Sons of the Lion would be to hunt down and destroy the Fallen, no matter their directives or assignments tasked by the Imperium. Torturing the former first captain of the Legion, Luther, for centuries within the bowels of the Rock, the Dark Angels would attempt to decipher the treachery indulged by the Fallen. Yet with the invasion of the corrupted Fallen Demon Prince, Marbas, of the Rock, Luther would escape. Despite their reinforcement of Primaris Marines sent forth by the returned Ultramarines Primarch, Rabute Guilliman, portents of the Fallen, building a sizable army within Imperium Nihilus, troubled the Unforgiven chapters of the Dark Angels. Sightings of Fallen within the Somnium Stars, in numbers capable of threatening the Imperium, now of the utmost danger, with their former commander now returned to wreak havoc across the galaxy. The Dark Angels, bereft of their homeworld, draw recruits from a variety of planets, but predominantly recruit from feudal worlds lacking in industrial sophistication, alike to Caliban. Initially recruiting from a singular world known as the Plains World, the Dark Angels would diversify their candidates with the Plains World's corruption by the Tyrannid Xenos. Taking only the strongest juveniles from each planet, recruiters screen the candidates to join the Legion and erase all traces of their past lives. Undertaking the rites of initiation akin to other chapters of the Astartes, the Dark Angels aspirants who fail in their undertakings are mind-wiped and converted into servitors. Unlike other chapters, the Dark Angels use a preponderance of servitors in the stead of chapter serfs. Believing serfs with free will to be corruptible to their cause, the Dark Angels prevent compromise of their secrets and schemes. The gene seed of the aspirants and veterans of the chapter are amongst the purest of any Astartes. Degradation of their gene seed is unheard of, as even their Primaris Space Marines of the chapter carry gene seed of amongst the greatest quality observed in any chapter. With no known gene flaws or mutations, it is nonetheless baffling as to the High Lords of Terror's decision to rarely found new successor chapters of the First. Collectively known as the Unforgiven, the successors of the First Legion share a uniquely close bond of cooperation compared to their cousin legions. Rumored to function more akin to a legion than separate chapters, the Emperor's Holy Inquisition often caused the Unforgiven chapters to take flight from war zones with their mere presence. As a result, the Unforgiven chapters are regarded with distrust from most branches of the Imperium, with many successors of the Dark Angels disappearing from Imperial records shortly after their founding. The Adeptus Terra only permits new chapters under the most desperate of circumstances. Yet with the involvement of Rabute Guilliman's position as Lord Commander of the Imperium, the Dark Angel successors have once again burgeoned. Much to the dismay of the Ecclesiarchy, the Dark Angels do not give praise to the Emperor of Mankind as a god. Venerating their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, above all with exception to the Emperor, the Dark Angels believe the Master of Mankind to be a singular man, but a man regardless. Fully consumed by their betrayal of their kin in the form of the fallen angels, the Dark Angels are relentless in their pursuit of their traitorous brethren. Driven to wipe all traces of their Legion's sin from the galaxy, the Dark Angels seek absolution from the destruction of their homeworld and fracturing of their Legion. For 10 millennia, the First have toiled in their pursuit of the Fallen. Capturing fallen angels and returning their charges to the Rock, the Dark Angels interrogator chaplains utilize every method in their means to cause their fallen kin to repent. Given a swift and painless death should they comply, the Fallen rarely surrender to the methods of the interrogators. The names of the slain Fallen added to the Book of Salvation. Though it is true to say that only the inner circle of the Dark Angels know the truth of the Fallen, secrecy is a trait necessary for any Astartes of the First. Preferring to stand alone, or at most with their cousin Astartes, the Dark Angels are stringent in their dealings with outsiders. Impatient and terse with their dealings, the Dark Angels are seen as aloof and difficult to work with by their counterparts. Notoriously intolerant of abhumans, the Dark Angels refuse to deal with such militarum contingents. Yet despite their friction with Imperium forces, the Dark Angels are amongst the most capable and respected chapters of the Adeptus Astartes. The first service to the Death Watch, a continual example of their fortitude in battle, the Dark Angels occupy several senior positions amongst the ranks of the elite Xenos hunters. Bringing extensive knowledge to the Death Watch, the Dark Angels are often at the forefront of the most dangerous of engagements. Though some scholars posit that the Dark Angels extensively serve within the Death Watch in order to use its resources to ascertain the location of splinters of the Fallen. During their time as a legion, the Dark Angels' numbers would peak at the amount of 180,000 Astartes. Amongst the largest of all the legions, such as the Ultramarines and Sons of Horus, the Dark Angels would be one of the single most powerful armies within the Imperium. Difficult to observe by outsiders, the Dark Angels would maintain an obscure and complex command protocol in order to maintain secrecy within the Legion, often presenting themselves to allied forces without explanation to their command structure, to allow their allies to correctly identify the Legion's leadership, to prove their insight as commanders, and earn the respect of the Legion. Comprised of many of the most accomplished Astartes within the Great Crusade, the Dark Angels would gain incredible skill and proficiency in every discipline of war. Deployed widely,
Wait. You're supposed to wait. Good job.
The bulk of the swarm is continuing along the predicted path. Continue holding. Enemies detected in the refinery.
Rookies.
We may use the system to set another trap. Swarm moving on our position. Halfway there, brothers. Keep it up. Swarm is climbing. My firing position is no longer secure.
Someone's connection sucks.
Immediate in place. The swarm has almost fully committed. Be ready for my mark. Swapping magazine. We are allies. You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards. Understood, Commander. Readying the charge. Straven here. Our ambush was highly effective. Tenant biocides down 90% and falling. Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent work. Move to extract.
Let's go.
Thunderhawk arriving at evac point. Ramp down and ready. We can make it. Keep going. No rest. No rest. Now get him an info. Extraction complete. Returning to orbit. Commendable work, brothers. You honor your chapter. Be ready for rearm, refit, and redeployment immediately.
So I'm confused. Are you a Chaos Marine or a White Scar? Because you have Chaos Marine colors with a White Scar emblem. Heretic. If we didn't have a common interest, I'd slay you where you stood. Sworn enemy of the Emperor. Followers of Horus. Oh yeah. Go back. Sing it to me. Sing it to me. Very good. Uh-huh. Yup. And yup. Sing it to me. Sing it to me. Do wanna do wanna do. Sing it to me. Let's do breastplate, gauntlets, and alright. Sing it to me. Sing it to me. Okay, bottom halves are black, green. Yeah, that works. Wait.
during the Great Crusade and armed with the single more insular and paranoid, the wider Imperium would note the further spiral of secrecy subsuming the Dark Angels. Turning a blind eye to the chapter's new monastic and reclusive behavior, the newly founded Inquisition and other Imperial orders would sanction the Dark Angels to continue to serve the Imperium due to the loss of their homeworld, Primarch, and otherwise exceptional deeds. Instrumental during the scouring of the traitors, the Dark Angels would prove themselves to be effective in driving the traitors to the dark corners of the galaxy. Whilst the Dark Angels follow the combat doctrines outlined by the Codex Astartes, the former Legion's history of stubborn defiance endures. Ignoring objectives should they catch even the hint of information usable to track down the Fallen, though an indomitable force of reckoning for the Imperium, the Dark Angels are not without flaws. Should a human life, or an Astartes life, stand in the way of a clue to track the Fallen, such life will be readily sacrificed for the need of the chapter. For records exist of the Dark Angels turning on their allies in order to prevent information of the Fallen from being revealed to those outside of the First. For any who survive with knowledge of the Fallen are taken to the Rock to be lobotomized as servitors to the chapter. Adhering to the Codex Astartes, with exception given to the Deathwing and Ravenwing companies, organization of the chapter is otherwise compliant with the tome's outlines. Extremely flexible in their use of combined arms and rapid deployments, the Dark Angels employ immensely proficient tacticians and specialists. With the incorporation of Primaris Marines further bolstering their exceptional skills at hunting down their prey and striking with overwhelming firepower. Incorporating these new units into their Ravenwing company to great effect, the Dark Angels have become reinvigorated with their new blood into the chapter. The core of the majority of strike forces comprise of battle line squads supported by close combat and fire support elements. Yet there do exist unique specialist formations within the chapter. The elite Deathwing 1st Company and Ravenwing 2nd Company can be called to support any engagement should the need arise, though their primary objective is always to hunt the fallen angels should their presence be found. The 3rd Company, the Unmerciful, 4th Company, the Feared, and 5th Company, the Unrelenting, serving as the backbone of the chapter. These battle companies serve as the chapter's might brought to bear. The 6th Company, the Resolute, and 7th Company, the Unbowed, are defined as tactical companies. Comprised entirely of tactical squads, the 6th and 7th Companies excel at launching diversionary tactics and flanking maneuvers. The 8th Company, the Wrathful, consist entirely of assault squads and act as the close support company. Outfitted with jump packs, the 8th Company overwhelm enemy positions and cleave their way through defenses using melee combat. The 9th Company, the Remorseless, consists entirely of Devastator squads and serve as the fire support company. Armed with the most powerful long-range fire support weaponry of the chapter, the 9th Company aid their frontline brothers with overwhelming firepower. And finally, the 10th Company, the Redeemed, harbor the chapter's scout marines. The neophytes of the chapter train to become full battle brothers, with their most veteran members being assigned to strike forces to the other companies as needed. Yet with the return of Rubute Gilliman and the influx of Primaris Marines, the structure of the Dark Angels and its successors has once more shifted. Now composing of 6 battle line squads, 2 close support squads, and 2 fire support squads, most deployments now consist of a battle company with additional Deathwing, Ravenwing, and Scout Marines, bolstering their forces as needed. With exception to the 1st, 2nd and 10th Company, each company maintains a variety of transport armor designs, such as Rhinos, Razorbacks, and Repulsors. Dreadnoughts of the Legion remain in service to the company to which they serve during their internment, and slumber within the Rock's halls of silence until they are needed. During the era of the Great Crusade, the Dark Angels would paint their armor jet black, with the Calibanite Astartes adorning the heraldry of their knight houses on their right pauldron. The Lion would order his sons of Caliban to honor the forests of their homeworld by painting their left pauldrons dark green. Yet with the end of the Horus Heresy, the color schemes of the chapter would be reorganized. The 2nd Company would remain jet black to honor their heritage, with the wider chapters adorning their plate with the dark green of Caliban. Whilst the elite 1st Company, the Deathwing, would paint their Terminator armor bone white in honor of a battle fought against the Genestealer cult on the Plains world. Said to paint their armor in the color of death, as dead men walking, the ghost-like Deathwing of the engagement did not expect to survive their battle with the Devourer. Yet their fighting spirit would be proven, and their reclamation of the world would cement the colors of the Deathwing forevermore. For the regular Astartes of the chapter, each battle brother signifies their battlefield specialty on their right pauldron, with their squad numerical on their right shoulder. Whether they be battle line, close support, fire support, or veterans. The winged blade adorns their left pauldron, though members of the 10th Company, for not earning their wings, utilize only the blade of their chapter. The Deathwing replace the bladed sword with a broken variant, and the Ravenwing utilize a blade held with a single winged raven claw. The Battle and Reserve Companies show their company identifier on their left knee plate, whilst veterans of the chapter are identified by their armor's adornment in hooded tabards and cloaks. Signifying their knowledge of the fallen, these cloaks are used to hide their shame of the chapter's fallen angels. Unlike many Codex-compliant chapters of the Adeptus Astartes, the Dark Angels use terminologies and ranks to orchestrate the command between their various successors. The Supreme Grand Master of the Dark Angels acts as the Chapter Master of the First. Said to command not only the Dark Angels, the Supreme Grand Master leads the chapter's inner circle and is privy to every secret of the chapter and its legion's history. Supposedly commanding every successor chapter as the most senior rank of all the Lion's descendants, the Supreme Grand Master of the Dark Angels is amongst the most powerful individuals of the Imperium. For each wing of the Dark Angels, there also exists a Grand Master. The Grand Master of the Deathwing commands the elite 1st Company of the chapter and acts as the successor to the Supreme Grand Master. The Grand Master of the Ravenwing commands the chapter's 2nd Company and serves as the chapter's leader of the hunt of the fallen angels. The Grand Master of the Librarians maintains the chapter's records and the protection of the chapter's secrets. The Master Apothecary tends to the chapter's medical needs and biological research, with his most important duty to preserve the chapter's near-peerless gene seed stocks. The Master of the Rock is a title equivalent to a chapter's Master of the Forge. Leading the chapter's tech marines, vehicle pools, and maintenance of the chapter's armory, the Master of the Rock bears the technological prowess of a Magos of the Tech Priests of Mars. Permanently hardwired into the control nave console of the Rock, the Master of the Rock maintains the workings of the gigantic vessel, but is not privy to the dealings of the chapter's inner circle due to his creed's ties to the Adeptus Mechanicus. The High Interrogator of the chapter serves alike to a chapter's High Chaplain. As Reclusiarch and Master of Sanctity of the First, the High Interrogator trains his junior-ranked Interrogator chaplains in their arts of psychological manipulation. The Grand Master of the Fleet commands the chapter's naval contingents, transports and warship assets. Captains of the Legion are known as Company Masters and lead each of the 10 companies of the chapter. Although serving as members of the inner circle of the chapter, the Company Masters are not privy to the most dangerous secrets of the chapter. Each a veteran of the 1st Company, the Deathwing, the Company Masters have proven their mettle in battle as reliable commanders and are given the honor to lead. Since the adoption of the Codex Astartes, lieutenants have served within the Dark Angels as the right-hand facilitators of their Company Masters, often splitting each battle company into 2 smaller demi-companies, The lieutenants lead these smaller battalions into battle, allowing for their experience to place them as company masters. Should their senior officers fall in battle, the lieutenants are a vital role for each company. And for those of exceptional battle prowess within the elite First Company, there also exist the Deathwing Knights. Imbued with the Lion's own semblance of strength, these veterans of the First Company uphold the traditions of the chapter, whilst purging all manner of their most deadly foes. Members of the Inner Circle, the Deathwing Knights are brought to the Chamber of Judgment within the Rock to face the trials incumbent of their rank. Once prevailing in these tasks, the Knights are presented with a Mace of Absolution and Storm Shield by the Watchers in the Dark as a mark of their office. With even these elite warriors promoted to the rank of Knight Masters, armed with the Flail of the Unforgiven to better slay the enemies of the chapter. The Ravenwing Black Knights storm into battle on their customized Mark IV assault bikes. Heavily armored cavalry units, the Black Knights pass 7 rites of the Raven in order to bear the honor. Carrying their Corvus hammers into battle, their bikes' plasma talons rend the enemies in their path. Led by their Ravenwing Huntmasters, the Black Knights form rally points for their kin companies to support. Each company also bear their veterans and champions with humble reverence. Ancients of the companies carry the chapter's banners into battle, spurring their battle brothers to fight with renewed vigor. And for their champions, each company appoints such heroes of battle by combination of honor duels, contests of strength, and other means to challenge one another. Confronting enemy warlords, captains, and senior officers, the Dark Angel's champions stride into battle not only against the enemies of his Imperium, but also any Space Wolf champion offered to challenge their chapter's honor in battle. For the Dark Angels have many enemies across the stars, and should they relent in their persecution of the guilty, humanity shall be subsumed by darkness. Empires, monuments, and legends are built by those who are merely victorious. We were born to kill, not to build. We are not idle long enough to leave monuments, and we leave no work of the enemy intact to spawn legends. We are the First Legion, and he that follows in our wake is death. This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer. The vaunted First Legion lay the foundations for every legion that would follow, yet their pride would be their undoing in many crucial moments of their history. For our next transmission on the Legiones Astartes, we shall elucidate the Pathfinders unconcerned with pride above honor, or deeds unbecoming a true warrior. The Star Hunters of his Imperium, the White Scars.
If you somehow managed to miss possibly the biggest thing to happen in
My boy. What's up?
What's grabbing?
Again.
Oh, wait.
Hey, Corey, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can do it. All right, cool.
Hey, you can play on Substantial, right?
Yeah, sure. What was that? 3? 4?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could be alright with our, me and my boys' levels. Yo, mama.
Sure.
Baby girl. How you liking the game so far?
I like it. It's great. Like a sweet rip and tear. Reminds me of Doom.
Yeah, for me, it's Helldivers meets fucking Gears of War.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like Gears of War and Doom. I had a baby.
He had a baby.
Lieutenant Titus predicts the Tyrannid's Hive Tyrant is leading a swarm along a corridor toward the astropathic relay. We are... Assist in the defense of the bridge until you confirm that the Xenos Overlord has entered the kill zone. Then trigger the detonation.
An inglorious death for an noble alien overlord. Space Marines.
Delta Wing, box check.
Cathedral is
Meridian reporting.
fucking
1
massive.
minute for
Good God.
insertion.
I know, right?
Get us on the march to take that Hive Tyrant's head.
Dude, do you follow any of the lore?
Acknowledged.
Oh, yeah.
Proceeding to relay. Maintain box reports.
I've been getting into it real hard the past couple weeks.
Nice. What's your chapter?
I'm Raven Guard.
Oh, Raven Guard? Nice.
Yeah. Corvus Corax is probably my favorite Primarch. They got some really good ones there, man.
God. I've been Blood Angels for a long time. Sons of Sanguinius. Yep. I have all the Flesh Terrors. The Gabriel Seth.
Fucking cannibalistic set, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, Sanguinius dope. I do like the Dark Angels fucking Primarch. Lionel Johnson is nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's also really close with Sanguinius.
Oh, shit.
Take what you can carry. Supplies marked. Fresh munitions.
Not a thing. How long you been into 40K?
A few years now. Colin got me into it. Yeah.
Our brothers in arms.
Yeah, my buddy got me like 2018-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading the books, like the Horus Heresy one, during the deployment. So I was kind of like instant with it, and then I played the first one. I don't know, I remember when it was like 2008, 2010.
Yeah, of course, here he's fucking sick. That needs to be its own playable game.
Oh yeah. Like the Istaban like 4 like drop shit massacre.
Oh, the drop site massacre, boy. That's where fucking my boy lost 70,000.
Yep.
Quote the Raven, nevermore. It was the Ravens, the Salamanders, and who was the third
Iron
legion
Fist,
that got betrayed?
Iron Fist,
I think,
right? Or Iron Wars.
Yeah.
Dude, a couple, what was it? A couple Chaos, like, legions, too. Or, yeah, the Traitor Legions. A couple Traitor Legions actually joined the Imperium in that battle.
So it's funny you're saying that, because the color scheme that I'm rocking right now is based off the Death Guard that didn't fucking turn to Chaos. Yeah, right. The backstory that we got sent off to the Death Watch to pay penance to show that we weren't truly falling to Chaos.
Yeah.
That's something that's great about this game. This is like fucking live action D&D. You can like make up your own fucking backstories on the spot if you want.
Yeah. Where are you guys at?
Just drop down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Cannon blind thrown. Into the fray.
I love that grapple hook. I think it's nasty.
Get over here.
His twin blades are sick, too.
Silence them. This avenging angel, I like your style. Damning praise. Protest all you like. You know when to focus to win when you get in that predicament. I'm an instrument of the Emperor. I'm trained to
The liquor is down.
Me too. Fortunately, he usually was me. Magazine out! Magazine in!
How's he still hitting me?
Substantial, brother.
Reloading! Here it is.
slamming those little motherfuckers like that. Gronk spike.
Oh yeah.
Hey, come hit these crates. Medical stim here.
Armory data.
Good, come here.
Here we go.
There's always a box right here behind this pillar.
Oh, I really thought about it.
This soil shall bear the corpse of a hive tyrant.
The Unitorum does not store explosives to Codex Astartes standards. Locate enough to demolish the bridge.
I got one of the charges. Hey, Az, there's another stim over here.
Yeah, I'll come down.
Az needs that stim.
Dispensing stims. Bless this detonator. Direct me to where I can place these charges. Bomb is life.
Where is he?
I have no idea.
Secure that sector.
Heading down to drop the next set of charges.
Yeah, I'm just fighting this guy.
Packs, brothers.
Yeah.
Ready to throw.
Gotta plant one more charge. I'm doing the fourth now.
Oh shit, you got me.
Explosive offering prepared!
I shall not.
Homeboy needs backup. Oh shit.
Tether unbound. All pomp and no grace. Lay down Primarch proud.
Final charge set.
Cleansing fog. We only await the creature now. The Hive Tyrant will reach your position shortly. Join the Imperial Guard defenses up on the bridge and lure that Xenos Colossus into the kill zone.
The wrong little bastard.
Cut that call for help short. Closing the gap. Oh, my arm. The army. We purge them.
Oh, did you hear him fucking echoing off?
Avenging
Yeah.
angel at your disposal. Grapnel launcher set.
By the numbers, troopers.
I dare not look at them.
Astartes! We were not expecting such illustrious company in the rear ranks. We've got a handle on these probing strikes, my lords.
It's the relay that's getting hammered right now. Our target is a hive tyrant. Once we kill it, the relay will be secure. That's news. Without armor support to tackle a target that big, we may have to bring down the supply bridge. Our plan requires it. Is this a withdrawal order? Negative. The objective is the hive tyrant, not the bridge. Defend this position until the Tyranid command unit is executed.
Understood.
Those
my
sticks,
lord.
you got that seed.
May the Emperor guide our
Oh,
Lascans to your
hey, he's got
support.
the genes. He needs all the things he can get.
Ready
He should
up
go.
Show the Emperor's angels what we are made of.
Alright, we
Swarm
should
from
do
the
this.
bridge.
Xenos scum are pushing from the bridge. Got a pile up below. Don't let them climb. They're forming up. The hive tyrant is on its way. But it is a horde of Xenos between you and it. Dig in full come from the battlements and send them sprawling back into dirt. You have its attention. It is moving to intercept. Apply more pressure.
Time to gut this deal properly.
Aim for the legs of those runners.
Somebody's got a bad connection here.
Titus predicts the Tyranids Hive Tyrant is leading a swarm along a corridor toward the astropathic relay. We are inserting you near a bridge held by the Imperial Guard that intersects with its path. You will level the whole structure and crush that Xenos monstrosity in the collapse.
Visual on drop zone. Setting down.
Assist in the defense of the bridge until you confirm that the Xenos Overlord has entered the kill zone. Then trigger the detonation.
We will bring the Imperium's fist down on the leader beast's skull.
Delta Wing, box check. Meridian reporting. 1 minute from insertion.
Talassa receiving. Commencing mission.
Acknowledged. Proceeding to relay. Maintain box reports. Damocles out.
Protecting Tyranid presence. One down. Trillions to go. Get your stim injectors. Warrior. Swapping magazine. Brother. You there. Brother. Warrior. Check that spot. Stims, take some. Straber. That weapon of yours is the pride of the armor. Go there.
Agreed.
Good talk. That is where we need to be. Hive beast sighted. Disappointing! Into the fray! Are you trying to stoke my rage? Grab your grenades.
Advancing towards objective.
No poke and none graces. butcher set.
Don't waste your ammo.
Stay dead, fuck it. Tyranids aim to make amends. Book available. Start covering fire. Keep them, bastard.
Pick these stems up, Billy.
Take what you can carry. Found medical supplies. Closing the gap. Trying to stop my way. A warrior.
Your movement is erratic.
It is called evasion.
Evade away from my firing lanes.
I will do my best. Good hope and no brains. No turning back now. At the holdout, searching for ordnance.
The Munitorum does not store explosives to Codex Astartes standards. Locate enough to demolish the bridge.
Stims injected. Smells like fresh munition. Arrived and waiting.
Charge primed.
Bridge is good to blow.
The Hive Tide will reach your position shortly. Join the Imperial Guard defenses up on the bridge and lure that Xenos Colossus into the kill zone.
I take your arm. Preparing discipline in the hall. Unleashing crack grenade. Stay there, buddy. Smoking out Nancy. Fragmentation device in play. Into the fray. Disappointed. Do not get turned around.
The stem's right here.
Go there, dig in. Get your stim injectors.
Astartes! We were not expecting such illustrious company in the rear ranks. We've got a handle on these probing strikes, my lords. It's the relay that's getting hammered right now.
Xenos Overlord is inbound. Prepare for intense combat.
There's another set of stems here.
Snooze. Without armor support to tackle a target that big, we may have to bring down the supply bridge.
Charges are armed and in place.
Is this a withdrawal order?
Negative. The objective is the Hive Tyrant, not the bridge. Defend this position until the Tyranid command unit is executed.
Understood, my lord. May the Emperor guide our light guns to your support. Incoming!
Armor boost here.
Ready up, faith. Show the Emperor's angels what we are made of. They're making another push over the bridge. Xenos on the bridge.
They're stacking up.
Wait till they pile up.
The Hive Tyrant is on its way, but there is a horde of Xenos between you and it. Dig in for the long haul.
Time to gut this build properly.
Don't split up. They're still coming.
You have its attention. It is moving to intercept. Apply more pressure.
I will block them from the battlements and send them sprawling back into...
Keep your eyes peeled. The Xenos leader beast will be in visual range shortly.
Ready to move.
It's mere existence approximately.
I've never seen such an atrocity.
Hold. Give the Hive beast a moment. Detonate the charge
closer to Delta. We destroyed it.
It is not dead. Clarification requested. The swarm would go feral without their connection to the hive mind, but their focus is still on the relay.
Check that.
Reports confirm the Lieutenant's assessment. Enemy cohesion still in full effect. That beast is not yet dead.
Message received. Kill the bastard more.
We can hold this position, Lords. We'll keep the swarm off your backs while you hunt that thing.
Good to go. I am proud of our battle.
I see it trying to dig itself out.
It is renewal given form. Finish that bomb. Have more to do. Yes. If you observe the righteous references after the motion you wield a chainsaw, you would be an exemplar master. Reciting lengthy liturgies is no substitute for killing Xenos.
And yet, I find the time for both.
Ah, if you would like to test how your devotion compares to mine, my blade is ready anytime. Into the maw of death! So-and-so, shield your minds! Enhanced tactic ready.
Keep moving. Keep moving, keep moving.
Off it goes.
Pursue and eliminate. We will not have a better opportunity to finish it off.
Everyone down! What needs that? One down. Trillions to go.
Supposed to save your Guardian Relic, not use it.
Approaching zone.
Keep moving. Keep moving.
I shall be through with this. That covering fire! Keep them fast! I like your style. Jamming fire. Protest won't work. You know when to throw caution to the wind and get in the thick of it.
I am an instrument of the Emperor. I am trained to engage the enemy as he wills.
Me too. Fortunately, he usually was me to the front line.
Elevator.
The thing is too smart. It knows we are after it.
There's stems here. Right here, right here, right here. Right here. Let's go, you guys are gonna go fucking Move. Keep moving. Come on, Blake, keep moving. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Finished and ready.
Blicky, let's go.
Trying to stop my range.
Those guys are designed to distract you and wear your ammo down. Let's go.
No turning back now.
I feel like cross from it.
Tell us a report.
Giving chase to this damn thing.
Tell us you cut out.
Vox signal negligible. Jamming, most likely. The lieutenant will just have to listen for our howls of victory.
Packing up equipment. The foolish beast thinks it will escape above ground, but it will not evade my reach.
Tending to my wounds.
You lack further, brother. Your point? What stirs your passion if not combat? Preparing for combat. Your heart is as cold and still as stone. It merely steadies my aim.
Brothers, join me.
Ready for next encounter. Have you realized there is no escaping judgment?
Here we come, spiky bastard. Got the deer.
Power surge from the target.
Projector spin. For more of death.
The Emperor sees.
Strategically
You're
calculate
welcome.
the outcomes of a
Immediate damages.
Damocles. The alien contaminates our world no longer.
Their weaponry stands poised to unleash death upon the enemies of mankind, and their voice is a chorus of wrathful machine spirits, eager for the carnage to come. The Ultramarines fight under their ancient banners, each a relic of honor and a testament to victories earned in blood. They charge to the cacophony of bolters, the deafening roar of chainswords, and the chanting of honored war cries, a hymn to the Primarch and the Emperor's glory. No matter what the foe throws at them, whatever tactic or strategy it attempts to employ, or whatever horrors it's able to conjure into our reality, it ultimately matters not. For the sons of Guilliman are guided by the wisdom of the Codex Astartes, and through its teachings are prepared for any eventuality. They rapidly and effortlessly cycle through an endless array of battlefield tactics and unit formation, each and every battle-line warrior having trained to the point of mastery for every possible battlefield role and weapon equipment combination. As a fighting force, they are a perfect balance of offense and defense, strengthened by tradition but not limited by hubris. By employing stratagems tried and tested across 1,000 battles, they outmaneuver and outwit their enemies at every turn, while also minimizing civilian casualties and collateral damage. When the fighting is done and the enemy lays slain, they leave behind nothing but ash and the righteous judgment of the Imperium. They are the finest warriors mankind has ever produced, the chapter that all Space Marines are measured against, both saviors and conquerors, and the ideals of the Emperor given form. They are his Ultramarines. They know no fear, and with courage and honor, they march for Macragge.
We are the Ultramarines, the sons of Guilliman. Whilst we draw breath, we stand. Whilst we stand, we fight. Whilst we fight, we prevail. Nothing shall stay our wrath.
So with that introduction out of the way, what exactly are the Ultramarines? Well, they're one of the oldest and most venerated chapters of Space Marines in existence, tracing their origins back over 10,000 years to the days of the Great Crusade, wherein the God Emperor, the master of mankind, set out with his armies to reunite all of the lost human worlds and reclaim the stars, the birthright of our species. The collective of all the Space Marine chapters in operation is referred to as the Adeptus Astartes, and it's kind of oversimplifying it, but you can think of an Adepta as an official branch of the Imperium's government. There's the Adeptus Astartes, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Adeptus Arbites, and the Adeptus Administratum, to name but a few. The Space Marines are not the only military force utilized by the Imperium, but they are arguably one of the oldest and strongest. Each individual warrior is an 8-foot-tall monster, clad in ceramite power armor that traditionally wields, but is certainly not limited to, a vicious chainsword and a firearm known as a bolter, which comes in dozens of different forms, such as a pistol, rifle, or heavy variant. And then there's my personal favorite, the Storm Bolter, which is like two bolters wielded together. Whatever form they come in, all bolters fire mass reactive shells ranging in size from 75 caliber to 99 caliber that detonate shortly after impact, rendering any organic target hit by one of them into an explosion of gore, viscera, and shattered bone fragments. Now, though this is the most iconic loadout that you'll see an Ultramarine wield, their sanctified armory is filled with all manner of powerful death-dealing instruments, power armor variants, specialized war gear, explosives, and ammunition that allow the Ultramarines to lay waste to any enemy they encounter across the galaxy's seemingly infinite battlefields. But an Ultramarine is so much more than just the equipment they wield. You see, each of them has been blessed with a series of 19 to 22 different implants that elevate a man into a veritable demigod. These include things like a second heart, a third lung, a gland that lets them spit acid, organs that rapidly accelerate their bone and muscle growth, one that allows them to change the pigmentation of their skin, and another that allows them to heal from almost any injury. There's even one that allows them to gain valuable intel and information by consuming the flesh of one of their victims. I actually made a video going in depth on all of these implants a little while ago, so that'll be listed in the description down below if you want to know more. All Space Marines are bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter than baseline humans, and even outside of their armor can crush a man's skull with a single hand. Their gene-enhanced minds can process battlefield information hundreds of times faster than even the most accomplished of mortal warriors. It's really difficult to put into words just how crazy they are, but if you've played the recently released Space Marine 2 and slaughtered your way through hordes of Tyranid bioforms, you've probably got a decent idea of it. For many years, the lore has described them as a semi-literal walking tank. It's almost impossible to take one of them down through normal means, and their only real weak points are the eye lenses on their helmet and the rubberized joints in their armor that sacrifice shielding in order to not limit maneuverability. But even if the enemy knows that and they think they figured out how to kill a Space Marine, it's then that one shows up in Terminator armor, or they encounter a Centaurian, and those plans go right out the window. Although there are currently believed to be 1,000 different chapters of Space Marines in active service, all with their own unique history, beliefs, specialties, and in some cases, unique powers, the Ultramarines are considered by many to be the best of the best, the purest expression of what being a Space Marine is all about. They are unquestionably loyal, disciplined, and display a fierce adherence to and appreciation for established systems of hierarchy. They hold honor and duty as sacred and believe that every battle brother must always uphold the highest standards of conduct, both on and off the battlefield. No matter their individual personality or character, all Ultramarines are known to be particularly thorough, logical, and attentive to every detail, no matter how minor, whereas Battle Brothers from other chapters are often known to display extreme character traits such as hot-headedness, bombast, unquenchable bloodlust, or somber, uncooperative demeanors. The Ultramarines, by contrast, are deeply analytical, calculating, and slow to anger, and thus are much less likely to give in to impulse or rash decision-making. Their chapter teaches them that to be an honored battle brother of the Ultramarines, one must always remain balanced in their approach. They are trained not just in the way of the warrior, but also that of the diplomat and ambassador, which makes them ideally suited to fulfilling the role of facilitators and/or peacemakers in joint operations, where a clash of cultures or heated disagreement between battle brothers could endanger a mission of critical importance. Whether it be matters of battle or state, these guys have a very logical and practical approach to problem solving. They consider every variable, great and small, whether they be theoretical or practical, to always make the best decision. Their Primarch was once quoted as saying that there was no such thing as a minor detail. Information was victory. One couldn't and shouldn't dismiss any data as inconsequential until one was in a position to elevate its significance, and that only comes with hindsight. So to them, all detail is important until circumstances render it redundant. Now, before we get into the weeds of it, I also want to address a label that the Ultramarines have earned from the community that I think is frankly ridiculous. You see, the Sons of Guilliman are frequently characterized by the 40K community as being rigidly formal, with a stick up their ass at all times. And I'll admit that can definitely, sometimes, pretty often be true. But other people say that they don't have a sense of humor, which is blatantly incorrect. I'm here to tell you that the Ultramarines in fact have a great sense of humor. It's just that their jokes are, how should I put this? Like the Space Marine equivalent of super dry, awkward dad jokes. And most of the time they don't actually laugh at them. They just say, "That was very humorous, honored brother. Please tell another." For example, the Ultramarines have their two war cries, Courage and Honor, and We March from a Crag. Well, there's a great scene in the novel Pharos where the Ultramarines are about to enter a situation where they have to fight in zero gravity. And right as they're about to dive in, Brother Caius turns to Brother Sergeant Lethicus and, with a straight face, says the famous Ultramarines war cry with a twist, "We float from a crag." Sergeant Lethicus may not have found it funny, but I certainly did. There's also the scene in the Knights of Macragge where Cato Sicarius is talking to Sergeant Redius, who had recently lost an eye in a previous battle. When the conversation is done, Cato thanks him for providing him counsel, brotherhood, and an indulging ear. And the sergeant's response is, "Of course, brother, just don't ask me for an eye. I've got few to spare." This is the last one, I swear, but my personal favorite scene is in the short story The Armor of Fate, where Guilliman's trying to get used to not being able to take off the titular suit of armor. His armored hands are bigger and less dexterous than he's used to, and when he goes to pick up a small plastic object, he ends up knocking all of the books and papers onto the floor. He just glares at the tiny thing on the ground and turns to Cato Sicarius, pointing at it saying, "Tiny plastic flimsies, my greatest enemy." Anyways, enough of that. Let's get back on topic. The methods by which the Ultramarines chapter is organized follow the edicts of the Codex Astartes closer than any other chapter. Now, if you're unfamiliar with it, the Codex Astartes is a documented penned by Rabute Guilliman 10,000 years ago at the conclusion of the Horus Heresy, wherein the Space Marine legions, which at the time could have tens or even in some cases hundreds of thousands of Space Marines within them, were broken up into hundreds of chapters of no more than 1,000 Marines. This was an attempt to minimize the consolidation of power, as they had just fought a pretty massive civil war and were attempting to make sure such a tragedy could never happen again. This event was called the Second Founding, as the original creation of the 20 Space Marine legions was the first, and over the next 10,000 years, there would be at least 26 additional foundings that created hundreds of new Space Marine chapters. Contained within the Codex's pages is the condensed knowledge, wisdom, and experience of not only the Ultramarines Primarch, one of the greatest tactical minds to have ever lived, but also the minds of hundreds of legendary heroes, brilliant tacticians, and decorated generals that over the centuries have contributed their own wisdom and documented accounts of real battles. In many regards, the Codex is seen as a holy book that is believed to be sanctified by the Emperor himself. Although all Space Marine chapters are supposed to follow the Codex, a certain degree of flexibility is given to them, as some chapters are referred to as non-Codex compliant, meaning that they have their own systems in place and see the Codex as more of a guidebook than a set of laws. In the vast majority of cases, these chapters are permitted to do this for a well-established and documented reason in their history. Other chapters that deviate are technically doing so illegally, but the Adeptus Terra understands that with how big the galaxy is and how spread out all the Space Marines are, it would be practically impossible to really enforce it 100%. So unless the chapter is doing something that borders on the heretical, they mostly turn a blind eye. When things do get kinda spicy though, that's when the Inquisition steps in. And nobody, not even the Space Marine chapters, want to draw the attention of the Inquisition. But that's a topic for a different video. The vast majority of Space Marine chapters are Codex compliant, all of their deviations falling within the range of what is considered acceptable variants. However, since the Ultramarines embody its teachings in its purest form, and have only ever deviated from it once out of necessity by creating the Tyrannic War Veterans, they are the chapter that all others are measured against. By memorizing the Codex, an Ultramarine cements his place within the chapter as one of the Emperor's Angels of Death and prepares himself for anything the grimdark future could possibly throw at him. In addition to everything else, a large portion of the text is dedicated to how a chapter should be organized and its hierarchical systems. And to make things as simple as possible, you can think of it like this. A Space Marine chapter consists of 1,000 battle brothers that are split up into 10 companies, that each contain 10 squads of 10 men. The entire chapter is led by a chapter master. Each company is led by a captain who is assisted by their lieutenants, and each squad is led by a sergeant. The companies can be divided into 4 categories. The first is the veteran company. Companies 2 through 5 are the battle companies, 6 through 9 are the reserve companies, and the 10th is the scout company. The warriors of the battle companies are Space Marines that have fully completed their training and can operate in whatever role the chapter demands of them, whereas those in the reserve companies and the scout company still have things to learn. This isn't to say that they aren't fully capable in battle, as they certainly are. It's just that the scouts and reserves fill very specific combat niches, such as the long-ranged heavy weapon experts of the 9th or the close combat assault marines of the 8th. Squads from the reserves will be used to reinforce the battle companies when required, and when the battle companies suffer losses, members from the reserves will graduate into them to fill any vacancies. Outside of the companies also exist 5 separate distinct entities that have their own system of organization and whose members are not counted towards the total number of Battle Brothers within a chapter. These include the Armory, the Apothecarian, the Reclusium, the Librarius, and Chapter Command. The chapter's armory is where all of the Ultramarines' vehicles, dreadnoughts, and artillery are stored, and also serves as the home of all of their tech marines, hybrid engineer warriors who have spent time training under the Adeptus Mechanicus and are the masters of all things mechanical. They are tasked with maintaining and repairing the advanced weaponry, vehicles, and other technological systems utilized by the Ultramarines. Within the Reclusium, you can find the chapter's chaplains, who minister to their Battle Brothers' spiritual needs. Now, this tends to confuse new people as, with the exception of a small handful of chapters like the Black Templars, the vast majority of Space Marines, the Ultramarines included, do not view the Emperor as a god. Their chapter sermons instead traditionally focus on the teachings of the chapter, words of wisdom from legendary heroes of the past, and have a focus on what it means to be both a man and an Ultramarine. Also housed within the Reclusium are the greatest relics of the chapter, legendary weapons once wielded by mighty Ultramarines of the past, and one-of-a-kind master-crafted equipment used in countless battles. These are venerated and watched over by the chaplains, and it is only they who can sanction their use. The Apothecarian is the location in which all of the chapter's apothecaries study and perfect the arts of medicine and battlefield surgery. Perhaps more importantly, though, is that this is where the Ultramarines' gene seed reserves are stored. It is where all of the harvested progenoid glands that are taken from slain Space Marines are kept safe until such a time comes that they will be given to a new aspirant in order to create a new Space Marine. To say that this gene seed is seen with great reverence by the chapter is a massive understatement. On one hand, collecting it from the battlefield is kind of the Space Marine equivalent of collecting a fallen soldier's dog tags. But on the other hand, it is literally used in the creation of their replacement. And many Space Marines believe that through this practice, their fallen brothers live on in the new recruits, continuing to serve the Emperor even in death. Next, we have the Librarius, a fortified cathedral where ancient lore is sealed behind locked and warded doors. This realm of echoing ritual chambers and peerless testing is the home of the chapter's librarians, powerful psychic warriors trained in the arts of wielding the warp as a weapon against the enemies of mankind. It is here that the chapter's ancient history is housed, cataloged, and researched, where countless scribes will scour over endless reams of millennia-old parchment, preserved by a stasis field, for even the tiniest scrap of information pertaining to the forgotten portions of the chapter's history. Finally, we have Chapter Command, which is the highest echelon of leadership within the Ultramarines. This is where you can find the Chapter Master and all of the officers that assist him in making crucial decisions. Seeing as how the Apothecarium, the Librarians, the Armory, and the Reclusium all branch off from Chapter Command and aid in the overall ruling of the Ultramarines, their highest-ranking leaders count themselves amongst its members. These include Chief Librarian Varo Tigerius, Chief Apothecary Corpus Helix, Reclusiarch Orton Cassius, and Master of the Forge Phineas Maxim. The only individual that ranks higher than these 4 men and the chapter master is the Primarch himself, an honor that is currently unique to the Ultramarines, as theirs is the only one to have returned to the Imperium. Now, as of the time of this recording, this is slowly beginning to change, as Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the Dark Angels, has returned to the setting as well, but he's currently trapped over in Imperium Nihilus and kicking it with the Risen. However, since Guilliman has become the Imperial Regent and is currently in command of the entire Imperium, leadership of the Ultramarines is still firmly in the hands of its chapter master Marnius Calgar. It's important to remember that a Space Marine chapter is more than just a bunch of Space Marines. They also have a legion of mortal servants that see to the day-to-day administration and coordination of the chapter's affairs. Within their ranks are scribes, serfs, acolytes, lexicographers, carto-divinators, historians, logisticators, astropaths, navigators, chronologians, tech priests, laborers, pilots, shipmasters, and many more. They may not be their brothers, but they are nonetheless still an important part of the chapter, and the Ultramarines show them respect and routinely acknowledge their labors with gratitude. Okay, before getting into the 10 companies, we should first talk about how somebody becomes an Ultramarine in the first place. That way we can better understand the